Blog Talk Radio.
There is a mystery lurking the forested areas of the world. Many have seen something, but what is it? Are they seeing known animals? They claim they walk upright, like a human. There are so many eyewitnesses. Can they all be wrong? Is someone just playing a trick on people? Or is it possible a large bipedal being could exist in the forests of the world? You have a decision to make. Do you believe it exists? These are the topics we discuss on Sasquatch Watch Radio. Alrighty, everybody, welcome to another episode of Sasquatch Watch Radio. Today is February 19th, 2013. Just got back from an exciting weekend up at the Cabela's in West Virginia. And we're going to have a great guest on the show tonight also as we invite Doug Waller to the show from Ohio. So I hope everyone stays in tune for that. But as I had mentioned on the advertisement, I am about ready to announce my new co-host that will be co-hosting this show with me. And without further ado, let's get a drum roll here. Welcome to the show, Creature Seeker.
Hey, Billy, how you doing?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks.
Did you like the introduction?
Yeah, that was very special. I'm going to remember that for a long time.
Yeah, Janine thought it would be a great introduction for you as co-host.
I knew she was behind that.
Hey, if you can't have fun, what can you do?
Well, let's just give it a try. Let's give it a shot, Billy.
Oh, man. So, first of all, Bruce, welcome to the show. I'm glad to have you.
Thanks, Billy.
It's going to be great to have you as a co-host, that's for sure. And I don't know, what do you want to do? You want to get into talking a little bit about Cabela's last weekend, or do we want to just go ahead and get Doug in here?
Well, let's I was thinking we could do a recap of Cabela's because it was a great event.
Yes, it was. I had a lot of fun at the event. I think both of us got there Friday. We enjoyed that meet and greet with Dr. Meldrum, of course, Eric Altman, Doug Waller, Dave Drageson. Yep.
Yeah.
So it was great to have the amount of people show up. The conference room's sort of small, and we had it pretty full. As a matter of fact, there was people standing in the room. But it was pretty enlightening, I believe, because a lot of people had a lot of questions.
that conference room was really packed. It was standing room only, so that was I thought it was pretty well received.
Yeah, I think so too. And I know a lot of us were complaining that it was hot in that room because of how many people was there. It heated up the room pretty fast.
Yeah, it was pretty hot in there. When you have that many people in a small room like that, it was just bound to get a little uncomfortable.
That's for sure. And then, of course, Friday after that, when we came back Saturday morning, everybody got in there. The majority of us at 9 o'clock got everything set up. We had some vendor tables. Eric Altman had his Pennsylvania Bigfoot Society table set up. He had numerous footprint casts. He had shirts for sale and a lot of things. And then, of course, right beside of him, they had Dave Dragerson had his artwork set up with all the drawings that he's done for witnesses and what they've seen. Of course, the next table was us at Sasquatch Watch of Virginia. We had some shirts for sale and had various pieces of equipment that's used in the research, like audio recorders, and had the thermal imager set out, had the parabolic mic system, just some various tools for people to look at to see what's used in the field. And right beside of us, of course, we had Dr. Meldrum, and he had a couple cases of his book, and I believe he might have come close to selling them all out. What do you think?
I think if he didn't, I'd be surprised if he didn't sell all the books that he came with. I know he had a bunch of casts. He had some replicas of some famous casts from Walla Walla, from Bluff Creek, and he had some knuckle imprints, and I think they all sold out. I think he sold everything.
Yeah, I think he did. He was doing quite well. He always had a crowd around his table, and I think one of the things that I found most encouraging was how he had a few young children that would come up and talk to him at some length, and he was very receptive to the kids and really wanted to pique their interest in the subject, and I thought that was great.
Yeah, just sitting next to him all weekend, really had the opportunity to get to know him, and he's a really nice guy. I've seen him, I've met him on multiple occasions, but never really got a chance to have a one-on-one with him. He's just genuinely a nice guy. He's a really intelligent guy.
Yeah.
But one thing I did notice that he was really good with the crowd. Nonstop people just coming up, purchasing his casts or buying his book and getting his autograph, and he was just really great with the crowd.
Yeah, I agree. I think he did a great job. Then, of course, right beside of him, we had Stan Gordon and his wife, and they were there selling. Were they selling anything? Did they have books or something?
Yeah, I think they did have some books. Yeah.
Okay. And then right beside of them, of course, was Brian and Terry Seach. They had I think they were selling some items as well, some shirts and some other things. And I think they've got an event coming up here real soon. I think it's the Butler Conference. Is that what it's called?
I believe it is called the Butler Conference.
Then right next to them, of course, was Doug Waller and his group. They were selling some shirts. I tell you, they had a nice variety of shirts over there on their table, and then of course they had some bracelets, because my wife bought one bracelet, and some other types of jewelry that they had over there. They were selling fiends over there.
They were. They went through a lot of shirts, and of course, they had that Bigfoot bling that they were talking at their table.
Yep, exactly. So, did I miss anybody? Did I get it?
I don't know. I can't recall, but I think that's pretty much everyone.
I think that's everybody we had in the vendor section. But of course, the talk started out on Saturday morning as well as Sunday morning. Of course, Dr. Meldrum started at 10 o'clock each morning, and then he had two different subjects that he spoke about. Of course, I didn't get the opportunity to hear any of his talks, because I was tending to the vending areas and stuff. But I'm sure they were very good. My understanding, I think, is his talk on Sunday, if I understand it correctly, was based on a some type of a guide that's coming out, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so he's working on sort of a field guide, and it's something that you could carry in your backpack. And I don't really know all the details about it, but I think he's been working on that, and maybe we'll have him on the show, and he can talk about that.
Yeah, I think it would be a great idea. Of course, we had Stan Gordon there. I didn't get to hear any of these folks talk. Stan Gordon was there, gave his parts both on Saturday and Sunday. Eric Altman also, and Dave Drageson, and then myself. But nobody listened to me. But anyway, so I don't know. Do you have anything to add, Bruce? I mean, other than the fact that I think everybody had a great time. I think on Saturday at one point that the head count out there was over 500, according to Bud, and it was a pretty good crowd that first day.
Yeah. I think there was at least 500 there. If you ask me, I think that's probably a conservative number. I knew, like Friday night when we had this town meeting, and the crowd filled up that room. I knew it was going to be a busy week.
Yeah.
And don't forget that couple messing around in the back row, Billy.
Oh, you talk about the chiropractor?
There's a stairwell. I was watching your presentation, and I was back on the stairs. I looked down, in the back row, there's this couple carrying on, and so I'm thinking, what's going on here? And she and they're a young couple, and she was rubbing his back, and the more you're talking about Sasquatch, the harder she was rubbing his back, and if that guy was like a lump of clay, by the end of your presentation, he would have been like a fine Ming vase. Because just the way she was lavishing attention on him, and I so I was embarrassed. So I'd shown my flashlight down on them, and I said, "Hey, get a room, for crying out loud." The softcore porn has no business at a Bigfoot event, Billy. So I just want to say that. And the thing is, what's the really embarrassing thing is that we know these people. And I don't want to embarrass him by saying his name, but it rhymes with Brandon. So Brandon, quit it. All right, please, just quit it.
Oh my goodness.
So
yeah, I know we had a nice laugh.
Yeah, that was yeah, and then he shows up in his Mustang like he's Vin Diesel from Fast and Furious, right? He's all like strutting his stuff. He pulls up in his hot rod Mustang. I'm like, please.
Oh,
anyway.
All right. Well, let's see. Yeah, it was a good event. If you missed it, y'all missed a good event. It was great. It really was. Let's see here. All right. I'm pretty sure this is probably Doug. So let's find out from the area code 740. Is this Doug?
This is Doug.
How you doing tonight?
Doing pretty good.
Doug.
Brucey.
So Doug, you what's really amazing? Doug Waller is. He spoke at Creature Weekend last year, and he has this organization that's in Cambridge, Ohio, called what is it, Doug? Southeastern Ohio Society for Bigfoot Investigation. Did I get that right?
You nailed it.
All right. So that would be for the first time I got that right. But it's a great organization. Meets every other month. Right, Doug?
Every other month, 7 o'clock at the Crossroads Branch Library in Cambridge. That's where I and 2 other employees that form SOSPI. All three work at the library. SOSPI being the acronym for that mouthful that we call our group. SOSPI is a lot easier to say. And we have a meeting coming up March 2nd. And it's free to the public. It's an open forum. And we never really schedule any speakers. It's just an open forum. Whoever shows up, we invite everybody to participate. We form a big circle or square, I guess, with the tables and chairs, and I act as the moderator, and we just talk about Bigfoot. And we usually have witnesses as well as researcher, investigators, and then just people that are genuinely interested in the subject. And normally by the intermission break and then when we resume the second hour of the meeting, a lot of the people who were kind of quiet the first part of the meeting have opened up and seen that nobody's gotten laughed at or ridiculed, and so they'll a lot of times come forward and tell of what happened to them or what they saw. And it's really become popular, and we're probably averaging 40 people per meeting. And, we're getting people out of the Pittsburgh area, which is about 2 hours away from Cambridge, and we get a lot from the Akron, Canton, Cleveland area. We have a few coming up out of the Marietta, Parkersburg, and a couple even from, we've actually had people from Indiana, and I think we had somebody from Maryland once, but we get them from all over the place.
Well, that's great. Now, you ever think of shortening the name of your organization? I bought one of your T-shirts. I put it on, and it looked like an eye chart. There's so many letters.
Well, no, but now that you mention it, we might work on something like that. But I can't take credit for the name. I let my partners come up with the name, and that's what they came up with. I said, as long as you have Southeastern Ohio in there, I don't care what you come up with, and that's what they got. So we just go by SOSPI. And
well, you guys have a cool logo, the Bigfoot with a Sasquatch, and I think that's pretty cool. That's why I wanted one of your T-shirts.
Yeah, it is a cool logo, and Paul Hayes from Ohio Bigfoot Hunters designed that for us. And actually, we did an investigation up at his place. It's probably been maybe 14 months ago or so. He had some Bigfoot activity around his house, and he really got bit by the Bigfoot bug because he's gone from somebody who never gave Bigfoot a second thought to actually a blogger and a researcher. And I don't know if he does one of these radio shows himself, but he's on quite a few of them, and he's come to some of our meetings. And that usually that happens quite often. Once one has had a sighting, they either go one way or the other. They never set foot in the woods again, or they go the other direction and they can't stay out of the woods. They're constantly looking for another Bigfoot or more evidence of such.
Yeah, Paul's actually on the show tonight. He's listening in, so.
Oh, okay.
Oh, cool.
He's like, hey, that's me.
Yeah, that's Paul. He's the one that designed the logo. I used to call him all the time. I said, Paul, you got to help me. I took some pictures, and I'm too dumb to know how to download them and post them onto Facebook, and he walked me through all that.
Well, we're all learning. So, Billy, the amazing thing is that, Doug, he headed up this organization. So we asked him to speak last year at Creature Weekend, and now he's big on the lecture circuit.
Oh, I know.
He's like a highly demanded speaker, and with good reason. He did a great job speaking at Creature Weekend last year, and he was giving updates about recent sightings, in the Salt Fork, in the Cambridge, Ohio area, and he was just really entertaining. And so I know that he has some other events that he's going to be at. I think, Doug, what's your next event? Is going to be at the Butler Conference?
Well, actually, the next event, and I don't plan on speaking because we're the host group. We're putting this thing on, but Sasquatch is actually hosting hosting an event called The Unexplained, Bigfoot, UFOs, and Paranormal Activities. And this will be Saturday, April 6th, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Crossroads Branch Library in Cambridge. It's a free event open to the public. There will be speakers. Let me think. David Drageson. We asked Stan Gordon, and he's booked. Eric will be there. Donna and Jackie are coming all the way from Wisconsin to speak. Paul Hayes and Tim Stover are coming down to speak. And I have to get back with Melissa Hovey and Wayne. They're having, they only get so many Saturdays off, and I'm not sure whether they're going to make it. But at first they were going to, but I have to get back with them to see if they are coming. Brian Seach and his wife are coming. Fred Saluga from MUFON. We've got some paranormal people coming, but I don't have their names right now.
What do you mean paranormal people? You mean like
ghosts
are coming to your
ghost hunters and stuff like
okay.
that. When we first came up with this idea, we were thinking about just Bigfoot, and we weren't sure we'd be able to draw enough of a crowd, so we opened it up to have the little green, well, I should say little gray men, the alien people, and the ghost hunters. So we've Mary come up with the name, The Unexplained, Bigfoot, UFOs, Paranormal Activities. And in the meeting room where we hold our Sasquatch meetings, we'll have it full of vendors' tables, and then we've got a couple of other rooms that there's a divider that we can take down and open it up into a big room, and we'll have the speakers going on in there while the vendors sell their wares in the other room, like we did at Cabela's.
So, Doug, could you repeat that? What's the name of this event? The Unexplained.
It's called The Unexplained, Bigfoot, UFOs, and Paranormal Activities.
So, is Mary the same person who came up with the Southeastern Ohio Society?
Yeah, Mary and Shauna come up with that mouthful. Yeah, she's good at this.
I'm starting to see a pattern here.
Hey, let me real quickly. We've got a couple people holding. Let me see who we got here.
Okay.
They may just be listening in, but we'll check. Area code 614. You're on the air. 614. Are you just listening to the show, or did you want to comment?
Is that us, Billy?
That'll be you. Who am I talking to?
It's Foot Trackers, Terry and Treba.
Hey,
how's it going?
How's my family?
We saw you guys at Cabela's.
Yeah.
They were there.
We're one of the ones that got bit and can't stay away.
That happens to a lot of people.
If we're not in the woods, we're not happy.
I understand.
Are you in the woods now?
What was that?
Are you in the woods? Are you in the woods now, Terry?
Oh no.
So you're not happy.
I still have to work for a living.
No.
Well, did you have a question, or do you just want to make a comment on something, or what?
No, we were just hanging out. Didn't realize this was on before. Had a real good time at the conference there at Cabela's. They had a good venue.
That was a lot of fun, wasn't it, Terry?
Sure was.
Yeah, I did see a posting by Eric Altman on Facebook that Bud was real happy with the results, and they're planning on doing it again next year.
Yeah, that's always good.
Yeah.
I think that's a super idea.
We got a question in the chat room here. This is from Joe G63. It says, Billy, can you ask Doug a few questions? How frequently does he get out in the woods, and what sorts of research does he do?
Well, like Terry, I too work for a living still. I don't get out as much as I would like to. I do have a bum knee that bothers me, and it's going to have to be replaced at some point, but I still try to get out. I get out more in the daytime, searching for evidence rather than nighttime investigations. However, I do enjoy going to Salt Fork. I've met Terry and Treba a time or two at the handicap picnic area and up on Bigfoot Ridge, listening for screams and howls and stuff.
Now, Doug, do you
Yeah.
meet them at the handicap picnic area because of your bum knee?
Mental handicap.
All right.
No, we did talk to some fellas over at the show at Cabela's about some recent activity on the pretty close to the Guernsey-Belmont County line in Ohio. They had somebody had a sighting within the last 3 to 4 weeks, I'll say, and they found some tracks and some, tree structures and that sort of thing. So we're going to try to get over there this weekend, a couple of us, and look around, see what we can come up with.
Now, Doug, I thought you do primarily daytime investigations because you're afraid of the dark. Is that true?
Well, that's a secret I had, but it's out in the open now. Yeah, I don't have the thermal and the FLIR and all that stuff. Maybe if I made the kind of money the computer geeks from Boston made, I could afford that stuff. But I was just able.
Well,
I just got a second-hand digital camera about a year ago. So
actually, Doug, that's just called being independently wealthy.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah.
I wouldn't know anything about that. I squandered my inheritance on this radio show.
Well, you must not have had much of an inheritance. Let me pull Mr. Henry May on the line. How you doing, Henry?
Oh, not too bad, guys. Not too bad. Sounds like y'all are having a blast. And I want to congratulate Bruce on his new promotion.
Promotion?
To being a Blog Talk Radio show host for the first time.
Henry May, this is my community service. I have to do 500 hours of this. Yeah.
Ah, I see. Well, but it sounds like you guys had a great time at the Cabela's event this past weekend, and I read Eric's report on that, and I also saw he put up a video link for a news report about it. So it's really great seeing an organization like Cabela's really embracing the Sasquatch subject.
Yeah, it is, and I agree. I think it would be nice if some of the other Cabela's would actually join in. I know some folks are wishing it would come to an area near them too, and my understanding is one of my former members with the group, well, actually still a member, but he opened up Sasquatch Watch in Montana. He's in discussions with the Cabela's in Billings, Montana, and they may be doing an event.
Oh wow, that would be cool. Anyway, I had some questions for Doug. Number one, I wanted to ask him, I know that he investigates within Salt Fork State Park, but do you also investigate areas outside Salt Fork State Park within the Sasquatch Triangle?
Oh, yeah. We, as a matter of fact, the first place we ever went was actually over in Coshocton County in the Wills Creek area.
Oh, yeah.
And we still get up there, Woodbury Wildlife Area also, And we're finding out that the Sasquatch Triangle really should be bigger than what it is, because we heard of one south of Seneca Lake the other day too. We heard, somebody was telling us at the Cabela's thing, they heard somebody talking about it. And events like that are great because people are talking about it now, more than ever before. And a lot of these sightings took place a long time ago, but when they initially happened and people tried to report it and were laughed at and ridiculed, they just kind of clammed up and kept it to themselves. But they're coming back out in the open now and reporting things.
Mm-hmm.
And we welcome reports. I don't mind if it's old stuff, because I kind of think if a Bigfoot could have been there 10 years ago, why couldn't it still come back around now? If it was there then, maybe
right.
it'll still come around.
Oh yeah. My second question is, given the fact that there are a lot of people at Salt Fork, usually, especially on the conference weekends, but I know there's lots of people there during regular weekends. Do you ever have a worry about, let's say you find evidence, you find a footprint or something like that, and it turns out to be hoaxed?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, we found a nest that somebody had made about 4 or 5 years ago, and I had recalled reading a book where Jody Cook and George Claphison found that nest up at Kenmore, Ohio, and I had Jody's card, and I called him, and he came up and they looked at it, and we were suspicious to begin with because of the sheer size of the structure was plenty big enough, but the opening to get into it, my research partner Shauna, she's like 5'4", and she had to turn sideways to get her shoulders to fit through the opening. And I thought, that's just not right, if an 8 foot tall, 800-pound Bigfoot's supposed to get in this thing, how in the hell is it going to get in if she has to turn her shoulders sideways?
Yeah.
And then Jody said they went all over the place and they found square knots tied in it, and we never found any smell, no tracks, no hair, no nothing. And we think somebody had constructed this thing, conveniently right before the conference that was held over there in May. So, that goes on. But Salt Fork's a very big area, and you can go outside of the actual park and go into some of the hunting area, the wildlife area on some of those back roads, and you can still find tangible evidence, tree structures and tracks and whatnot. And I've even been out there during different conferences and going way back in and never seen anybody else. But yeah, if you go to the usual haunts, like Hosak's Cave or the Kennedy Stonehouse or something like that, you're going to have other people around.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think I remember seeing that particular structure you're talking about just down the hill from the handicapped area.
That's exactly where it was.
Right.
It was off the path too.
Yeah. I remember seeing that back in 2009 when I came over for the conference. And and we all pretty much said, this is man-made structure. I remember Jody talking about it on a few Blog Talk shows as well.
Yeah. And his last book, he's got a chapter in there that he discusses that and talking with me on the phone. But we found it, I don't recall, it was like late March or early April, Shauna and I found that, and we took pictures and video, and then we kept going back out there like every week. And it always had stuff added to it when we went back. And I got real suspicious, and the last time I was out there, I just put my business card on it. And I thought, well, whoever's making this thing, they're gonna see that somebody else is looking at it. And Unfortunately, stuff like that happens, and it kind of gives us all a black eye, in the eyes of the non-believing public.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, of course, I don't know if anybody else is going to be at the Ohio Bigfoot Conference this year. I'm going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So, Billy, what about you? You going to be at Ohio Bigfoot Conference?
I will not be able to make it. I'm pretty much limited to 3 events a year. I've already done one at Cabela's. I've got the one I got to do in New York in April, and then I'll be at Creature Weekend in May.
Okay.
Well, we'd like to see you come to the Sosby event on April 6th if you can talk your wife into it.
See, Doug knows who the boss is.
Yeah.
Yep. But by the way, I wanted to wish Janine a happy belated birthday. I did wish her her happy belated birthday on Facebook. So.
Well, I'm sure she'll appreciate that. I think she probably saw it. So.
Yeah.
If she didn't, I'll let her know.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Billy. All right, thanks for taking my call, and hopefully see some of y'all in April.
Okay,
all right.
Henry.
Thanks.
All right, we'll talk to y'all later.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Speaking of birthdays, Billy,
Yeah.
The ring that you got your wife, well, it was actually a really nice ring. That was a beautiful ring.
Yeah, I actually got that. First of all, she likes silver, and that was one of the reasons I got it. But also, it was on special to where I was able to get mine and her name engraved on the ring, and so that's what I got her for her birthday. She loved it.
How come you had your name engraved on the ring? Is that so if you get divorced, you can claim part ownership?
Yeah, we'll just cut it in half.
Billy, I was when you showed me the ring, I was reading the warranty card, and it said that the ring could only be destroyed in the fires of Mount Doom. So I don't know what that's all about, but maybe you shouldn't have purchased that ring at Sauron Jewelers. You know what I mean?
All right, we've got another caller that's been hanging on for like 11 minutes. So, caller from the 608 area code, you are on the air.
Hi, guys. It's Donna. How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I just had to call and ask Doug. I heard he has a new book coming out.
Oh, you did? How did you hear that?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Yes, I
do. Is there
do.
a book coming out? Is it a book with words, or is it a coloring book?
Oh, Harrington, you got one coming now. that monkey joke might get told after all.
What are you talking about? Hold on. What we talking? Hold on.
That was
Never mind, Billy.
Oh my God.
That joke never gets old, does it, Billy?
Oh my God. That was my other question. Is Bruce going to tell the monkey story again this year, or at Future Weekend?
I'm going to do another book before my first one's even published. I'm going to do a sequel, and that monkey story will be in the second one.
The monkey story, that'd be great. I think you should lead off with that one.
Hey, Billy,
right,
are there any other callers in the queue? We gotta move this thing along.
Wait a minute. I've been waiting for 11 minutes. I get to ask a question. Okay, here's my other question. Bruce, on the VIP seating, is that going to be available soon for us to go on the Creature Weekend? And if those seats sell out, Jackie and I are going to come and turn you over our knee and paddle your rear end if we miss out on those tickets.
Will I have to pay for that?
Well, what did he say?
Nothing. Well, Donna, of course, we're going to have VIP seats available. Of course we will. We would not exclude you.
Yeah, right. You don't ever know who we have to prop up in the first aisle this time again. So, and we have to hear the monkey story, and we have to be really close so we hear it all.
Yeah, there's no monkey story, so I don't know why people keep talking about that.
I don't know. I just something keeps telling me to ask about a monkey story.
Billy, are you sure there's no other callers?
Well, actually, there is another caller on the line.
Yeah, let's
go on.
Get the show moving along here.
Caller. Yeah, go on and move on, and then at Preacher Weekend you can tell us about the monkey.
I assure you, there's no monkey story.
Bye, Bruce.
Bye, Donna.
Bye, guys.
Well, I want to thank Donna. She's typing my book up for me. I wrote it out by hand because I'm a terrible typist and a horrible speller, and she volunteered to type it. So I sent it to her, and she's typed it, and it's on the way back. And I've got to get some pictures, off of my...
Now, Doug, who came up with the name for your book? Is it Mary again, or...
No, Mary doesn't have anything to do with the name. And I'm not gonna... I do have a name, but I'm not gonna tell what it is yet. But I think you'll enjoy the book. It's not really about me. It's about it's about Sasquatch forming and some of the research investigations I've been on, and a lot of the Bigfoot sightings and stories that have never been published, and some have never even been told. And I have to apologize to Bigfoot. I didn't intend to make him sound as if he's a horrible, murderous monster. But when some of these people first encountered the creature, they thought their life was about to come to an end. It was very close encounters. And Donna said, it scared her when she typed that she had to close the curtains and turn all the lights in the house on and all that. And I said, well, that's what I was wanting, when I wrote this. So these are just some stories that I've collected over the years, and I've asked the people if they minded if I told their story. And a lot of these stories, if they don't get told, they'll be lost forever, if people don't come out and tell what happened to them. So that was the reason I wrote the book. So it should be out sometime this year. I don't know how long it'll take to get it published, and I'm sure I'll have to pay for it myself. I don't know any publishers, but anyway, I want to thank Donna for typing it for me.
Well, maybe you can get your book published by the same publisher who's doing Melba Ketchum's journal.
Well, I don't know. I'll get somebody.
All right, let me get this other caller real quick. They've been on for about 6 minutes. Caller from the 814 area code. You're on the air.
Hello.
Hello. Who's this?
This is Mike Pentecoff.
Hey, Mike.
Michael. Hey, you got my message.
Yeah, I got your message, and like I say, I'm not familiar with Blog Talk Radio, but I figured I'd give you a holler and take a listen.
Well, let me introduce you. Mike Pentecoff is from the Erie, Pennsylvania area, and he's been doing this for about 30 years. He's been, is BFRO a four-letter word on your show, Billy? He's been to a handful of BFRO conferences, not conferences, but outings, and met a fellow from is it New Jersey, Raj?
Yeah, he's from New Jersey.
And they became friends and kind of, struck out on his own, and sometimes he'd take Raj. And long story short, we got an email from him a couple of years ago. He wanted to come to Salt Fork, and I answered him, and he's probably smart. He's not on Facebook, with all the drama. But he and I get together, and we go to Salt Fork maybe once a year, and I want to get him to come down April 6th and talk about his research. And I'll shut up and let him talk a little bit because he's really got some nice research happening in is it Upshur County, West Virginia?
Yeah, Upshur County, West Virginia. Actually.
Yeah, tell Bruce and Billy what's been going on down there.
Well, guys, what's been happening? I originally was checking the internet, and I had got on the BFRO site and saw that there had been a sighting by a hunter down in an area where my sister lived. So I figured, well, I was going to go down there anyway, down by Fairmont. So we went in, and Raj and myself were down there for a couple of days, and we happened to actually stumble across a stick structure. And when we looked at this thing, I mean, it was in the middle of nowhere, and I mean, some of the logs were just humongous. And there's actually a picture of it on it's called Bigfoot Encounters website, and if you look under West Virginia, Upshur County, there's actually a picture of it, and it's pretty awesome thing. Well, anyway, we went back there again in 2010, and we were down there about 7:30 in the morning, and got out of the car, took one step, and man, I heard the loudest wood knock I've ever heard in my life, and I said, we just kind of froze and said, what the heck was that? So, we knew something was going on down there, and this past August, Raj, myself, and we actually took my sister and her two kids down there, and I did that for a reason. These things are kind of leery, and you know what? My mentality is you want to be as non-threatening as possible, and then kind of spark their curiosity all in the same token. Mm-hmm. So we brought the kids along, and when we got down there, it was probably 5 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, and the wind was blowing, which kind of give us a little covered our noise. So anyway, long story short, we walked up the trail probably a quarter mile to where the stick structure was, and we didn't really see anything. Well, we walked up just a bit further, and all of a sudden I heard a snap. So we had the cameras running, and we had to just turn, and I expected to see a deer or something go running, or maybe a bear or something. It was a pretty loud snap. Well, we didn't see anything, so we kind of just meandered, looked around, didn't see much, and when we had gotten home, it was probably a couple of days later, my buddy called me. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning. The phone rang. Well, I didn't answer it. So the next day, I talked to Raj, and he says, well, I got it. I said, what do you mean you got it? He said he actually had one on video, and he had it was about a 15-second video where you can see one of them standing probably about 70 yards away. He's swaying in between two trees. You can see the arm come up, and you can see him turn and walk away. So he had sent me a copy of it, and I said, well, doggone. I said, if you got it, I said, I've got to catch something. So I had looked at the video, and I didn't really notice anything. Well, I looked at it the second time, and I saw the first one was actually when we got up to the structure. I turned and panned back down the trail that we came up. And lo and behold, there's one off in a small clearing, probably about 50 yards away, and I was just kind of dumbfounded. I'd probably have him on video for 3, 4, 5 seconds, and just this hunched over posture. You can see some arm and leg movement. Well, anyway, I played the video a little further. We walked up probably another 20 yards, and that's when we heard that snap. Well, I turned and had the camera running. Well, I panned right on what I looked to be a female with an infant on her back and about 3 or 4 juveniles behind her. And when I looked at it the first time, I thought, well, it looked like 2. Well, then I looked at it and zoomed it in on the DVD player I have. It was actually 4 heads popping up simultaneously behind this thing. Then they all huddled to one corner, and then they walked up the trail. And probably about 3 seconds worth of video. Well, what I was able to do was the DVD player I have actually slow it down frame by frame at 1/24th of a second. So I got about 25, 26 frames. Well, then the closer I looked at it, probably about 30 yards away, I see a head. This head looks at us, and you can see it turn and look at the group, looks at us, turns and looks at the group. And I actually had sent Doug a couple of pictures, and I haven't released the video or haven't shown the video to anybody, but I took some still pictures, and I had emailed them to Doug, and you can actually see the face. But I would perceive it as probably the alpha male. And, I mean, we were probably within 30 yards of this thing. And, it's like the old Indian said, it could be 10 feet in front of you. You wouldn't see it. I mean, these things are such a master of camouflage that it's amazing. I'm here again. I'm ex-military, done survival training. Thought I knew what I was doing out in the woods. Well, these things are, I tell you what, they're very intelligent. They're experts at concealment, and I think it's something. With video as rare as it is, you really don't see a lot of good video. And some come up. I told Doug I'd bring it up in April, and if there's anybody listening who's interested in seeing it, I'm going to play the video. And
oh yeah, we'd love to see that.
It's compelling. It's not definitive. When I say definitive, I'm talking something like Patterson-Gimlin or the Freeman footage. You look at that and you can tell that's the real deal.
See, Billy, there's another reason for you and Janine to come up on April 6th, so you can see this video.
Doug is really trying hard.
Well, they're out there, and here again, I spent a lot of time in Washington State, and, the mentality up there is that, it's pretty commonplace. They're out there, but, they've been exploited. Not that they're going to complain, I don't think, but, you've got some of the shows like Finding Bigfoot that kind of exploit it. And, I mean, I'm not knocking the show. They've got some good techniques as far as some of their research, but, they're playing up to the audience, and a lot of it comes down to ratings, and the bottom line is obviously the almighty dollar, but they're out there. And I guess, it's researchers like Doug that take it seriously, as well as I do, that, our goal isn't fame and fortune. For the last 30 years, I've been looking for this thing, and my ultimate goal is to try and communicate with one of these things face to face. And, I think they have their own language, and I think they're a lot smarter than people have ever given them credit for. To stay as concealed and as hidden as they have, I think it's the ultimate challenge. And I think eventually somebody will be at the right place at the right time. I think a lot of it I think that's part of it, being at the right place, the right time. But also you got to have a game plan, and Doug kind of knows how I operate. I've got a game plan in place when I go into some place to do research, and it paid off this last August. In fact, when we left West Virginia, we actually went up to Doug's neck of the woods, and here again, long story short, there had been some activity in a particular area up there that Doug had shown us, and we knew the landowner and had given us permission to go up there. Well, I think it was a Sunday night, Raj and I were up there, and we parked the car probably about 10 o'clock, and we started doing some vocalizations. And we tried, probably 5 or 6 different calls, and finally, that 7th call, we got a response. So 5-10 minutes later, we did it again. We got another response. So probably about 11:30, 12 o'clock, we did the final call, and we actually counted 12 return vocalizations. It had been a group of these things. I'm guessing they were probably maybe a quarter mile off into a ravine, and I think Doug knows where I'm talking about. And I've never in my life had that many vocalizations or had that many return calls. So I think kind of the key was the particular vocalization that we used. So, there's a mentality behind the way these things operate, the way they think, and just their everyday activity. And it's the ultimate challenge. But we had extraordinary luck this past summer, and I'm going to try and get back up there again, and hopefully Doug will come out with us, and we can get lucky, get maybe some real good video footage.
Yeah, and see, that's a good place to go when all the activity's happening over at Salt Fork with the conference, because it's still close enough. It's only 5-6 miles away from Salt Fork.
Right.
And, you won't have 500 researchers out there running around on this property.
The great thing about having Doug out with you on a squatching expedition is, since he's got that bum knee, you can run faster than Doug. So
yeah, you don't have to be the fastest, just don't be the slowest.
Exactly.
So we're counting down here. Before we run out of time, I just wanted to talk about some of the other events that Doug is going to be involved in. So that's the Unexplained Bigfoot, UFOs, and Paranormal Activities. So that's on Saturday, April 6th.
Right.
From 10 to 5 p.m. at the Crossroads Branch Library in Cambridge, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're also going to be speaking at the Butler Paranormal Conference.
Yeah, that's April 27th.
7th, yep.
At the Tanglewood Senior Center.
That's in Lindora or Butler, I guess.
I think it runs from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. And then there's an event that's held at Salt Fork. Is it Creature Weekends, what they call it? And
yes, they do.
Who are your speakers for that, Bruce?
This year, our speakers, we have a special presentation by Ron Moorhead, and that's a Friday night event only. And we're going to have a nice prime rib dinner and listen to Ron talk about some of his recent exploits as well as the Sierra Sounds. Then on Saturday, our speakers will be Pat Spain, host of the National Geographic Channel's Beast Hunter series. We have David Paulides, who has been working on his Missing 411 series, and if you've heard any of that on Coast to Coast, it's really, really horrifying. Some of the stories. Basically, Dave has been researching missing persons at these national and state parks all over the U.S. and Canada, and found some commonalities that are really kind of shocking. So he's going to be talking about that. We also have Scott Nelson, who is a cryptolinguist for the Navy, going to be talking about his research on Bigfoot language vocalizations. He's actually analyzed the Bigfoot vocalizations and determined that has the trappings of a language. And of course, we're going to have you, Doug, and Billy Willard. And did I miss anyone, Billy?
No, I don't think so. I think you got everybody.
So it's going to be a really fun weekend.
The little monkey might show up.
There's going to be no monkey showing up, Doug. So
hey,
going to be what's that?
I was going to ask Doug something that Joe had asked before, because we're down to like a couple minutes.
Okay.
Joe wanted to know what really got you into this. Was it something that you read or something you saw that got you into investing?
Well, I've always been interested. I think when the Missouri Monster was stomping around back in the 70s, it's when I first became aware of Bigfoot. But I work at the library in Cambridge, and a cryptozoology book came across the desk one day, and I read it, and I had mentioned to one of my coworkers. I said, "That's a cool book," and she struggled with that word, crypto. What's that mean? And I was telling her, it's a study of hidden animals. And I said, Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, that kind of thing. And she said, "Oh, cool." I said, "Do you like that kind of thing?" She said, "Oh, yeah." And I said, "Well, your Avon lady and her husband had a Bigfoot sighting right out here at Salt Fork, and she couldn't believe it." And that's how we got started. We went out and met with them, and they showed us where it happened, and that's how we got our start.
All right.
Gentlemen, hey, it's been a pleasure talking with you folks, and Doug, I look forward to talking to you. Probably to talk to you before April, but
yeah, I'll get with you, and like to have you come for Creature Weekend too.
I definitely want to see talk to or listen to Ron Moorhead. I've listened to the Sierra Sounds. I'll tell you what, it's extraordinary.
Yes, it is.
It's been a pleasure talking with you guys. Take care, my friends, and God bless.
Bye
bye. Thanks for calling in.
Yep.
Billy, another thing that was really great about the Cabela's event is that, every now and then someone would come up to us and say, "Oh, hi, I downloaded, the show and, really enjoyed it." And it was really great to meet some of the listeners out there. All really nice folks. And what's really astonishing is that they would download the show and listen to it.
I swear.
I'm just kidding. No, I won't make fun of the show now that I'm on it, Billy.
All right. Well, before we go off the air, I just want to let everybody know, thanks for tuning in tonight. We appreciate each and every one of you guys. And come back next week. I'll be putting up an ad with who's coming on next week. So good night, everyone.
Night.
All right. And we can keep talking. It's just going to go into recording.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. Doug, thanks for calling in.
Yep.
Well, no problem.
Yep. Thanks for calling in, and I think Terry and them still on too. I think.
Are they?
Yep.
Looking forward to Creature Weekend. It was a great time last year. The best I've ever been at. Felt like family.
Yeah.
Thanks. You guys are what I regard one of the foremost researchers of the Salt Fork area, Doug and Terry and Treva, and some of the stories that you tell are pretty interesting. So I think it'll be a really fun event, especially being able to hear those stories again. We kind of forget, we have the conference there, but we really forget that there is a lot of activity that goes on at Salt Fork, or has in the past. I don't know how recent the activity is, but one of the things that Doug is going to talk about, is some of that activity, and so I can't wait for his book to come out as well.
Yeah, and I'm always looking for new stories. Like I said, even if it's something that happened a long time ago, I hate to have these stories die with the witness and never get told, because I'm sure there's some really interesting and sometimes frightening things that happen to people. And I know how I feel when I read them in a book. And when I write it, I try to write more than just so and so was driving down the road and saw an 8-foot hairy upright creature cross in front of him. I try to tell just what the witness felt when they saw it, and how it's changed their life. And I know one woman said ever since she had her sighting, she can't keep her eyes on the road ahead. She's constantly turning from side to side, looking at the tree line. She said it's wonder she doesn't drive off the road now, because this thing come out of the trees and went in front of her car and down the ditch on the other side, and it just scared her so bad. I think it's really a shock to a skeptic that doesn't even believe in these things. I believe in them, although I haven't seen one, so if I do, it may be a shock, but I don't think it would be near the shock it would be to a skeptic who thinks it's just a myth.
Yeah.
I think, Billy, you've probably run into this too. On more than one occasion, we've spoken with witnesses that before they had their encounter, they did not have one thought about Bigfoot, and they probably just wrote it off as being a myth. Billy, did you ever have that experience?
Oh yeah, there's been several witnesses that have admitted that they were the ones calling all of us nuts.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they had their own sighting, they kind of did a double take, and now they're saying, well, we're not laughing anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
So, but I guess I want to thank you, Doug, for coming on the show.
Well, thanks for having me on, and I appreciate having the chance to promote our group and our upcoming events.
Yep.
You think about April 6th. Now, I understand if you can't make it, but we'd love to have you. Think about that West Virginia video with all those Bigfoots in it, and you could watch that on the premiere showing of it.
All right, Doug.
Okay. Well, I got to get off to bed because I have to get up at 5.
Oh, that's early. You better go to bed.
Yeah, so I'll talk to you guys again, and it was great hanging out with you all weekend, too.
All right. Well, we had fun.
Okay.
All
Bye.
right. Good night.
All right.
All right. Good night, everybody. Good night, Bruce. We'll see you next time.
Good night, Billy.
Good night.
Night.
Good night, Terry and Treva.
All right.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of Sasquatch Watch Radio. Remember to join us again next Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. We appreciate every one of our listeners. Thank you so much for being here.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.